All right. Dave, that's always fun to hit the gavel, but my time says 5:59. Do I need to wait till 6, Barb? Okay, we won't start then. It's good to,
Somebody could file a complaint if we're early.
I will not start early. We'll start on time though.
We're the government. We don't start early.
We'll start on time. Was posted at 6 o'clock. Good to go, thank you. Time is now 6 o'clock. I will call to order the January 14th, 2025 meeting, the Huxley City Council. Can I have a roll call, please?
Roberts, Etcher,
Here.
Rigler,
Here.
Mulder,
Here.
Murphy,
Here.
All right, thank you. We'll now can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented or amended?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. That's a voice vote, right? Yeah. Yep. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We're all good. Public comment, this time in our agenda where we can look out into our deep sea of public in our meeting here. Any public comments of items not on our agenda? You'll have 5-minute limit to talk about it. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. These are our business items with A through G. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? And if you need to remove any of them, want to talk about it separately, please let us know that. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
a second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is that a roll call? It's a roll call.
Rigler,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts, yes.
Excellent. Nothing to move forward on there. Now we go to the business items, right, Barb? All right, business items, the discussion and appropriate follow-up regarding a housing study for the city of Huxley, Ames Economic Alliance. Can I
I'll
get a-
go ahead and take that this evening. Brenda had sent me a note. She was running late.
Do we need to have
This
that as
is-
a motion? No.
Nope,
Okay.
this is going to be a discussion. The only thing you'd have a motion is if you want to do the appropriate follow-up and follow through with what I'm going to recommend.
Thanks, Dave.
So Brenda had contacted me back before the holidays. I think I sent you all a note out prior to the holidays that they were planning on coming and asking us to do an updated housing study. I think the city was part of an overall Story County housing study some years ago. And I think in Brenda's mind, and I would assume with her counterparts here this evening, that it's always better to have your own housing study, especially as you're applying for some of these state grants. Last year, we did have one project that did apply for some of the state's housing tax credits. And our outdated housing study was one of the reasons they got scored very low. So that's kind of one of the reasons Brenda wanted to see us take on a study. Brenda felt like she could raise about half the money. It's about $7,000 to have the folks down at MIPA who we work with that are also part of CERPA do that housing study. And Brenda was able to raise $3,500. She got $1,000 from South Story. Alliant Energy's in for $1,000. Huxley Development Corp kicked in $1,000, and Huxcom put in $500. So the ask this evening would be to allow us to get a contract with Andrew down with MIPA to get the housing study done. Our share of the cost would be $3,500. And we would pay for that out of local option tax, which we've got plenty of money there. So and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have or try to.
What all do we help hope to find with this study other than just with grants and that? Is there other information that
They-
we're gonna glean that's gonna
Well,
help us?
They will do they will look to see what our housing stock is here. They will take projections for growth. And part of that study is to tell us how many housing units we need to be providing as we go forward, as our community grows, and in what price ranges. It'll be anything from, the workforce housing up to your high end. They'll cover all of that.
Okay.
So it's usually pretty valuable information. It's stuff that, when companies come looking, they're looking to see if you've had a recent housing study as well, to make sure you've got housing being built, especially if you're bringing in a new company that's going to be relocating folks to your community. So there's a lot of good benefits. Dan, is there anything I'm missing on housing studies? 11 housing applications come in last year. Especially for bringing in. There's a lot of good benefits. Dan, is there anything I'm missing on housing studies?
There it is, it's green. So good evening, Dan Colhane with the Alliance. Yeah, so I really think it validates need in your market. And last year we had, I believe, 11 housing applications that went to the state, and I think 6 of those got funded from Boone, Ogden, Nevada. We had one here in Huxley. We had none in Ames. I think we had one in Story City as well. But we had updated housing studies and market analysis that had been conducted in the past, in the last 12 to 18 months. And so this is a logical step. We're working in Webster City now. We're updating we're working through, I think. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So we're updating that one right now through the Council of Government in Fort Dodge, because that's where Webster, that's where him. Okay. Okay. So, yeah, we think it's a valuable.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Seems like be good information to have as we move forward to a comp plan also. Good. So I'm supportive of it.
So isn't this information valuable to like a small business coming into the community too?
It's valuable to any business that's coming into the community, whether it's small or large. It's just one of those steps. I think that as a growing community, we want to make sure that we have an updated housing study, and we, see the need of the different types of housing that are necessary. So hopefully, as we're working with different developers, we can, get houses built in all the different housing stocks that we really need to kind of fill that void. So, and if everybody's in agreement, all I would ask would be for a motion to allow us to go ahead and contract with MIPA to go ahead and do the housing study, with the city contributing $3,500 towards that total.
One more question before you get going. Would it make sense to put this in on a revolving plan instead of let it get outdated until you need it, or?
Yeah, that's one of the
Look at
things.
a
And
cycle?
I know Brenda told me the time frame, and is it like every 5 years? I think is what she told me, is that you really kind of look to update it like every 5 years. So I think that's something that we just kind of put in the back of our head, and if we do it this year, we'll want to do it again in 2030. So
Make a note so it
Yep.
comes back up, so we're not waiting or be behind the 8 ball if it's
Yep.
hindering things.
absolutely.
Well, I'll give you a motion of support for that, Dave.
I'd second that.
Do we need a roll call of that? Roll call, please.
Murphy,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Etcher,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. On to business item 5B, approve a resolution 25001, resolution adopting the Story County 2024-2029 hazard mitigation plan. Can I get a motion to move? Move that?
I'll give you a motion.
I'll second.
Excellent. Can you update?
Yep, I would just note, when I was hired by the city in 23, the county and all the communities in the county were involved in that. That was one of the first things that kind of got dropped into my lap, was to kind of work with emergency management on that. They had a consultant they'd been working with. They had several meetings throughout 23. I think the consultant has worked with the county to finalize it. The mayor had sent me an email, knowing that he wasn't going to be here, that he had received from Melissa Spencer, which indicated that it was time to officially adopt the updates to the Story County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. They provided us with a sample resolution. Once everybody has their resolutions in, they're going to provide each of the communities with an electronic copy of the updated plan. So it's been ongoing since 23.
Excellent. So now any other discussion? Here, no other discussion. Can I get a roll call?
Mulder,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Roberts. Yes. Etcher,
Yes.
Rigler,
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Don't see any other business plans on our agenda for tonight or other items other than department and council reports. Let's start out then with Kathy. How's that remodeling coming? Oh, we're about right here. How's that remodeling coming? Oh, we're about right here. Excellent. Thank you. Heather, anything tonight? Travis? Nothing? Barb?
The auditors have been here since last Thursday. They finished up with their on-site work today. There's still a few things that we're working on to get them, but overall, I feel it's gone really well. And I am knee-deep digging through budget, putting that together. So we've met with public works departments. We'll be meeting with the general fund departments this week and next to get those numbers.
Great. I still see these new TVs on the wall.
That's the first of mine.
That's yours.
Yeah, we actually, I'm not really sure what's taken CTI so long to get with us. We had a meeting scheduled prior to the holidays. The guy we were working with was sick. We actually have a meeting scheduled tomorrow. We've got the cost, so hopefully we'll know tomorrow how soon they're going to be here to get them finished to be hooked up. Well, actually, when we reset this room, that will come to the center. And if we may get a mic that has a cord because there's a plug in the floor. So we don't run into these deals with the batteries dying out on them. So we trying to get a better system that way as well. It'll just be kind of a hardwired mic down to the floor. But yeah, it's taken CTI a while. I know they had a company call and ask me what I thought, and I kind of gave them a piece of my mind about how I didn't think they were super great at the moment. So call me when they're finished. So, but I did not have some very nice things to say about them. I will tell you as well, we received a request right after I got back, that 47-acre parcel out at the corner of 560th and First Street has been purchased, and we have a meeting next Monday. Jeff and I and Forrest will be meeting with their engineer, the developer, on kind of a pre-application. They're looking at housing. Jeff sent me some stuff on the 2013 comp plan. We've got Steve Quick's, how his development was laid out, because we want to make sure things kind of fit, and their initial two sketches that we've seen probably aren't going to be what we'll end up with in the end, because they don't really fit the layout as to what I think the city wanted to see back in the 2013 comp plan, with Oak Boulevard being I think that's considered an arterial through there. But Jeff had provided that. So we've got all that information. We also have the information in 23 where we halted the R1A. Gave the smaller lots where they were trying to put the bigger homes on. The existing lots that were part of an original development could still be utilized, but I think we kind of put a kibosh on those at that point. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of points to discuss and see what they want to come up with. I've seen two proposals. One was about 152 homes and one was 178. So
Is that on the north?
be on the
West.
northwest.
Yeah, northwest corner.
Yep, it'd be on the northwest corner. So we're gonna be meeting with them next week on Monday. And then we've got a few of items of Chris's that'll be going to P and Z. He's actually created a Anthem Final Plat 3. He's taken some of the lots in Anthem 2 and split those up into 3. So Forrest has some comments back to his engineer. We're trying to get those worked out, and he's got a couple site plans that'll be going to P and Z that'll eventually make their way to council, either the second meeting in January or the first meeting in February. So those are some of the things that we're working on, as well as budget. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Dave, that parcel out there at First and 560th, are they anticipating or preliminary thoughts of construction in 2025 or 26, or what did they have any indications?
I just got a note from their engineer that just wanted to have a pre-application meeting, and she had sent a concept plan, and then they sent a second concept plan that showed up today. So we're going to sit down. We're just going to kind of talk through those issues. I think we wanted to try to address those before they spend too much money on design and development, and see if we can get something that's going to work out well for everybody.
Sounds great. Thanks.
So Dave, is that something that the current council should look at? I mean, because you said the study was done in 2013, that the council approved a certain,
I can send you, what Jeff sent me was really more of the roads. They showed how, I think what Jeff told me was that Oak Boulevard was set to be an arterial to come out, and they were going to realign 560th as it came into First Street. And that's what the comp plan shows.
Okay.
And it kind of splits that lot up. So that'll be something that I'm sure they're going to want to discuss, but I've got those.
So we
I
talked
can
about
send
the
those.
size of the road, the width, and whether it's gonna be curb gutter or whatever.
I
Oh,
thought there was-
anything that we do out there will have to be curb and gutter, because it'll be in, the goal is to get them annexed into the city. And I think as a part of that 560th, it's gonna have to be.
So we're
paved
not
as well.
talking about the actual housing then that's gonna be put out there. Right.
Well, I'm just saying that we got rid of the R1A classification. They'll actually get their plan put together, which will have to then go through P and Z to be approved, and then come to council to
Okay.
be approved for whatever they're gonna do out there. This is just a pre-app to kind of start that discussion and hopefully head off, like I said, them spending a lot of money to have to turn around and change some things. So. That'll all be based upon, like an arterial has a certain width that is required, and
If I remember right, we were trying to straighten the road a little bit through there.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, we've seen a couple other concepts come in for other folks that were looking at that land before this recent purchase, and they seem to fit into those comp plans in the past.
yeah, I mean, Steve Quicks, I think, we've got his layout for the rest of his, if that was ever to be developed. And I think that showed how Oak Boulevard would come out through there, and it's considered an arterial going through his and on out to 560th and First Street. So.
With that in mind, I think that's that 2013 comp plan. Follow-up question. How are we on the 2025 comp
we-
plan?
We met with I think we met with Sean O'Shea and the folks from his staff. I think you and Barb had attended a session on the lean comp plan. So we'd like to invite them into a work session here in the next month and have them come talk to you guys to kind of get your take on it. I think staff was pleased with what we heard, and we'll see how the rest of the council feels about that process and what it does, and if that's a route that you want to take, or if you want to do the, standard comp plan. But I kind of like the lean comp plan.
I think the sooner the better on that.
I agree with John on that, especially with another development, thinking about
Yeah.
turn off with like a,
I will just say that we've got several work sessions coming up besides budget. We'll have the fireworks discussion comes back up at your next meeting. I know we met prior to the holidays on the Public Works building. I hope to have Chip here for a meeting to talk about the financing for that, so we could hopefully move forward, hopefully with selecting an architect and an engineer to work on that project. First meeting in February, we'll have the Herons will be here, so that's on the access over off of West Centennial that Travis Baker uses. And then sure there's another one, but I'm drawing a blank, but we've got a bunch. I know, besides the comp plan, then we've got one coming up with some fees and things, and we want to talk about doing we're trying to get a proposal from Chip for a sanitary sewer rate study as well, so.
sounds like we have work to do. It's great. All right, John, you want?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing, all right, Tracy?
Just random. Whatever, I don't remember where we landed with Mike Camp and what he was gonna do with that development by the cement plant. Did he buy the land? And I don't need to push on it. I don't remember. And since we're talking about these development plans, it made me think of that.
Do you want, cement is a powder that goes into the final product, which is concrete?
Sorry, Greg, the concrete,
Okay,
the
yeah.
concrete, not the
Thank-
cement pond, the concrete. Yeah. Just in that area over there. Like, I don't remember.
What's a technical term? What's a technical term? I can help you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember those
Because
discussions.
we had
I
some
don't,
discussion about the road going through and the road not.
Well, I thought they canceled that due to the fact that that's the only road that goes south to
210.
210 outside of 69 and 560.
And I just
And that's
asking.
just my recollection, but I'm crazy most of the time, so.
If you have no idea what I'm talking about, we can just continue on, assuming there's nothing happening there.
right, Rory? Nothing, nothing for me tonight. So that concludes our regular scheduled council meeting. And we're gonna start a work session here immediately.
Yeah, and I know Dan may want to say a few words, so if you want to set up my spot here, Dan, so you don't have to stand there, and you've got a mic that you can speak to as you're talking to these folks. I'm happy to move.
You got a spot in the middle he can sit.
Oh,
down.
yeah,
Got a spot
the,
right,
the mayor's there. Perfect.
right
He can
here.
be the big guy.
Uh, Excellent.
Just have to push the button on the right hand side.
Okay.
You're live.
Okay, well, I think everybody's conversant with the topic of discussion regarding 560th here in the south edge of Huxley. Gravel for about a mile. It goes down to the Polk County line. Technically a county road. Talked to Greg in the last few weeks and David, and seems like there'd be some opportunity to get that paved to make another hard surface entrance into the community, right? And so one of the things we talked about was approaching Story County about, right today, that's their road. Certainly annexation could make some sense over the long term, right? But nonetheless, today it's their road. Would they entertain paving that road? I think the short answer to that, them doing it by themselves, is no. So what we're looking at is there a way to break this up between Story County, which at this point in time has said, we're committed. We're worried about what the legislature is going to do to cities and counties. And the short answer is no. But if the city were to say, hey, we'll put some money into this, if the DOT, with their proximity of their batch plant, is that the right term?
Yeah.
Okay, right along the interstate there, could we do something where we could piece it up between three entities to get that paved? And it would, we all know it'd be important to the Huxley community as they close that part of the interchange. So I'll stop there, but
Well, and the other piece of that, which Jeff conferred with Jeremy today, that that second bridge going to Ankeny down 69 is gonna be shut down. So they're gonna be routing people either right before Alman or just right after Alman to go west to be able to go south.
okay.
Because you will not be able to you won't be able to go down and just jump on the Elkhart interchange.
The white.
Go down
white- is it the
69.
White Oak Road that they're closing down, the one that goes to. Where the
So-
winery is out there.
So you're either gonna go to Ames to get on 35, or you're gonna go to Alman and down and a long way back over to get to 35. Is the way it's gonna be this, yeah.
Go this way and that way.
So, I mean, this is pretty imperative that if we could get this done prior to those things being closed, it'd be a benefit, not only for our residents, but for all the residents of Story County.
Right.
And really, the paving project that closed down, I-35, 210 bridge over I-35 will happen a little bit later, not immediately in the spring, so there's kind of a window of opportunity. There's a paving contractor that's working on the interstate right there with a portable batch plant. Right within a half mile of this road. It seems like that's about 2 days worth of paving. To pave that road and have a hard surface, and within a week you can be back, open back to traffic, so.
So we think they're open to discussion on that, or we just, that's our next step?
That's the logistics behind it, right?
Yep.
But now it's like, who helps fund it, right? Is it advantageous to the citizens of Huxley to contribute to partner in this thing, right? And long-term and short-term. And that's the discussion I think we need to have.
Yeah.
I think building is one thing, but paying for it is the next.
I think our long-term, we are probably gonna go south, obviously. And beneficial to our community to have that road paved. And exactly when we're taking out that bridge at 210 and 35 and then the bridge at Alman, it's beneficial to the whole county at this point.
What hypothetically, what are we talking as a price? Are we looking at? I mean, just overall costs. I know that we don't have engineering specs in the whole works, but we can ballpark this thing, couldn't we?
Yeah, I would guess we're under $1 million total, 750 would be a good.
So just even say $1 million to make it on the high end. And just for discussion purposes, so we can figure out what kind of funds we'd be looking at. We're looking at committing 333,000 in essence.
And we're not gonna get any cheaper than right now.
Yeah.
Because the plant is right there, which is gonna cut our costs considerably. And we're not gonna get any cheaper than right now.
And John, 333 would be if it was equal split.
Yeah, I guess
Three-way equal.
three-way equal split, but for hypotheticals, you gotta start somewhere to be able to make some decisions.
I agree. I just want to be clear. Yeah.
So do we have any funds that how would we look at funding this if we was going to? I mean, I agree, Rory. I think this is a great investment into Huxley's future. I think it's something that's needed now, and I think it's gonna benefit a lot of people. The whole thing is, what do we do with? While it sounds good, we got the money, we gotta still figure out.
Well, I think one thing too, that if you approach the county, for the financial requests is, current day, they're maintaining that stretch of road, right? Maybe you offer to maintain it once it's paved, plow it, whatever you have to do to. And that's something for you folks to discuss, but it might be a less burdensome for them. I don't know.
That's a great point, because that's one isolated piece that's separated from the rest of their network that they have to drop down and maintain. And it connects to 560th that we currently maintain.
Yes,
And if we can get them to pay more of the costing factor, that'd be great. I think us to maintain it, because I think eventually down the road, we're looking probably 10 years at the most, we're gonna incorporate that into our community.
Yeah, I guess it might even be closer than that, yeah.
I'd offer too that I think that once this is improved, I gotta believe there's gonna be an evaluation that's gonna increase out there with things that wanna be along that road, fronting the interstate. And so one of the arguments I would have with the county is you'll see greater valuation in those properties. Right now, it's all categorized, of course, as ag. But if it goes to commercial and there's some commercial development there, they're getting a piece of that, just like the city of Huxley is too, once you annex it.
absolutely. You know, we've talked that, it was one of those things that I talked to Greg a little bit and John, but it's probably going to take a couple of council members to come up to one of their meetings to talk about it. It's going to mean more coming from council than it is from a staff person. I mean, I could sit there and talk till I'm blue in the face. Dan could probably do the same, but when you've got elected officials talking to elected officials, I think it goes a little bit further. And not that we wouldn't be there to
Yeah,
chime in,
yeah,
but
yeah, I'd be happy to come. I've only talked to one supervisor and I've really talked to the one that I think would, carry the water on this if it was something that they wanted to do. I'd offer too that we believe there's two really likely places, pots of money, if you will. They've got some ARPA money left, around $6 million, that's unrestricted, but still has to be expended by June 30 of 26. So again, we're not talking about taking all the 6 million and, we're asking for a little consideration from some of that money. They also, for a number of years now, at least 10 years, they've put a TIF district, urban renewal area around the wind farm in eastern Story County. And they've captured half of that value, half the TIF value. They've pulled that off every year. And it's supported some infrastructure projects, but it's also supported communities across Story County, various project needs. I think Huxley in the past maybe got some money for some trail improvements, things like that. I don't recall, but most of the communities across Story County have benefited from those TIF dollars too. So I think I know there's some money left in this current year budget. Greg Picklap, who's our policy person, believes it's around $500,000 that sits in that fund. They haven't expended for this year. So there might be some dollars there. But I think the argument could be is that they funded the Tedesco Environmental Learning Center and the Research Park in Ames with those TIF dollars. And again, did they possibly give some money to the splash pad?
they did commit 50,000.
Okay.
Splash pad,
So it-
which we had to get as kind of a
Part of the cat
match,
grant, yeah, part of the
cat
cat grant, yes, exactly.
Yep.
But I do think that that's a reasonable place for them to pull some money if they're willing to invest in this road. So we know of two places where they could. That doesn't mean they will, but I think this is a reasonable request to come from the city of Huxley.
And it probably wouldn't hurt to find a couple business owners that were affected this past year to come along to that meeting as well, to talk about how the road closures really put a crimp in their business, and it's gonna happen again this year.
Well, and even with the bridge fix, just the getting traffic off of 69, just another avenue to get people out of there.
Yeah.
Is beneficial from just a safety standpoint.
Yeah, I do like the idea of bringing some business people along too. Different perspective.
So if the schedule works, I'd be willing to go, over there. John, you said you'd be
I'm
willing.
willing to go, just let me know.
You can only have two. I can
I'm-
schedule may not work for me
I'm
either.
good,
so-
I'm good.
We can only have two.
Well, you got three, that's a quorum.
Well, we would post it if we had three going to it.
No,
And whatever you need to make it work.
But I think if you're available, Greg, I think with your expertise, because Darren's gonna.
Yep.
Talk down and can't do this because of that and this and that, and you could probably
talk to him.
tell his bosses that they can do it.
be happy to go if scheduled, not next week. When are the weeks?
They meet on Tuesdays, so.
Every week,
Every week. So
not next week, the week after would work.
it'd be our next council meeting, would be the 28th.
I'm good, whatever.
So we need to come to them. One of the things I think what I'm hearing is we need to come to them. Would we be willing to participate? And if we are, to what level? I know we want to ask for them to pay for the majority of it because it's their ownership right now. But I think that's a question we're gonna be asked. And so maybe we need to talk a little bit about that. Do we, Dave? Or what do you, I mean,
I think you'd want to get some sort of direction as to what council would be comfortable, partnering with if it came to that.
start with.
What could we
are
afford,
willing
right?
to
Like-
Participate in it. Let's start there. If we're
Yeah.
at zero, then we can start with that.
We're all on board for that.
We're all on board for zero.
I think Dave needs to figure out what we can afford. And then also I think what we should look at definitely is if after the project's done, if we can litigate some of our expense that we're gonna be putting into it by maintaining it. It's 1 mile, Jeff. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Are you guys putting any snow fence on 560th? I mean, it's something we need to talk with Jeff and Dave.
Yeah, so soft spoken, I could hardly hear.
I'm just saying, I think that'd be tough for us, we don't have a massive truck, we just got some blacks on, so. It takes quite a bit to get a lot of snow over across the roads, to get through those and get back and forth, it's.
The piece we were talking about. Jeff, is if we could get them to pay for it, then we could go with the maintenance, but I hear what you're saying, but it might be just a bargaining chip for us. Yeah. What's a truck cost?
300,000, right?
So the third of the
320,000.
same amount we would need to.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's right now. We just ordered two, it's 320,000.
One time.
Yeah.
Would we have money around somewhere we could pull from, Dave?
Yes.
And how much?
Well, I don't want to spend it all, but we've got some we've got 2 years worth of local option, well, about 1.5 years worth of local option. We're sitting about 1.4 million right now, but we have a lot of other needs with projects too, though, so.
Yeah.
And that would be the quick answer would be, that's where you would pull it from. I don't think we've got any other project funds.
We do have a couple of
Couple of projects.
funds that still have
Well,
leftover money.
I'm just trying to think it through, that if we did have to go to a third of it, could we make it, I just think the importance of having it done for the business and the community is that important. We seen what happened when 69 was down, and
It's bad.
I don't want to see that happen to business down here for
So we've.
the next.
How much that hurt the business owners in Huxley?
Yeah,
Well, we've got some leftover project funds, about 140,000. As you recall, we took project funds from the Come and Go project is what's gonna pay for the lift station improvements there on Oak Boulevard. But there's still about 140,000 and a couple other project funds that could go towards this.
Long run, this is
It
gonna
could
be
go
very
towards the road.
beneficial to the community, our community, long run. And it's gonna be beneficial for the county currently. So I think we can negotiate with them.
Maybe you start with 150 and if we had to
Well,
do
start
some-
low. I
and if we
mean, yeah, you wanna start as low as it is, but
start at 100.
you
then.
gotta have some bargaining power behind you if you're gonna try to get something
Yeah.
done too.
But we could talk before we go into that meeting, like, give you a chance to actually look at some numbers, Dave.
Sure.
You know, but just for kicking it around here tonight,
Yeah.
I just wanted to see if we were all at zero, then that settled that, but if we're all at, hey, let's see what we can do.
What did DOT ever say? Did they?
They really wanted somebody else to commit first.
Okay.
I'll commit their money for them. Is that what they need? I'll vote yes.
Yeah. They wanted somebody else to make sure that they were serious about doing this.
That what they need?
I
They,
think we're serious.
they, in their, yeah, I won't go into that, but they probably have some available as well.
I think we'd be serious about it if we could get others to. You know, I wouldn't be serious about wanting to do the whole project ourselves. That's a little crazy. But. Yeah, I think it's that important to get an avenue into the community.
And maybe we say, if we partner and get it built, maybe we don't take it over right away. Maybe we run that down the road a few years before we would agree to take it over. So it would allow us time to maybe build up a fleet and, at least get a larger truck that we could have and, may have to add another staff person at some
Well,
point
and
as
if
we
things-
continue to grow.
If
So-
things start building out that direction, of course, that's cemetery on one side of that, that's not gonna be built, so you're always gonna have that open air there, but.
That's always a ship that we could say, within the next X number of years would be willing to take it over.
A lot of different ways you can.
Skin that cat. Yeah.
So it sounds like there's some support from councils to, participate in this at a certain level. Certainly probably not even up to 50%, but a certain level. Is that fair to say? Okay. Right, if that last one in January works, I'm pretty sure I'm available.
Okay. We can, and what's your, should we just show up to speak or do we want to be on their agenda, Dan? What's your take with dealing with them?
I think I'd ask for time on their agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put that request in.
the mornings?
Yes, they're
Yeah.
at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Or an hour, would be
Oh, they won't give you an hour probably.
super. Next week, we're student. My conflicts in the afternoon at 2. Yes. If.
So either the
if you're
20,
available,
so either the 21st or the 28th.
I know that's a day after the holiday, probably for them, but. Martin Luther King Day.
Mhm.
That's-
Yeah, I'm available. I just need to know probably by Friday.
John,
Well, if we've got two of them going, I mean, I can make it work if I need to go, but if we got enough people going.
Let's check with the business owners too, that we may want to invite.
so we may want to do it the 28th because trying to get them committed real quick. Let's just maybe plan on the 28th and see who I can get. I've got a couple that I'm going to call to see if they're willing to come down and talk with us. That I know had some, real struggles this past year. 28th doesn't work for you now?
I will move another meeting around if I need to. Yep.
I'll make some calls tomorrow to business owners and see what I can get set up.
My first preference then would be next week, my conflicts in the afternoon. But,
Okay.
the other one, I can move my meeting around and I can make it 28th, or John and Lori can go, but I'd be happy to go see.
I'd like to have you there for sure, just because of your expertise and being able to talk about how they can easily do this and not.
Yep.
Sounds good. We've had those discussions about how quick other counties have done some things, so. I like your expertise there. So,
Right, let's stay in touch.
okay,
Anything else for the work session and discussion of 560th Street?
Not for 560th. Can I ask if we're gonna do if we ask if the exit ramps would be open? From 35 before,
they are not going to be open.
Okay.
They're shutting everything down all at once and
8 or 9?
what? Really? Excellent.
for the whole project.
Oh, for the rain.
Oh, I was gonna say,
So
where they working? They got 5 crews coming to.
Yeah.
work 24 hours a
I'm
day
just
or
you,
what,
I'm like,
man?
you're gonna get that out and in 8 weeks? Wow. They're fast.
But they're not gonna open any ramps up until the bridge is open though, right? Or did they change that? Because I thought,
I'm just you, I'm like, you're gonna get that out and in 8 weeks? Wow. They're fast.
but they're not gonna open any ramps up until the bridge is open, all right? Or did they change that? 'Cause I thought-
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say
Hi.
aye. Done.